Okay, so we're going to talk about the 16s again. And as you recall, my real issue coming into this tournament and pretty much for the rest of the season was going to be, I thought, their shot selection. In other words, what we identified when I looked at them before was that a full 20% of their shots were really, really bad twos. That mathematically, it were just the worst shots that they could take, given their percentage, given kind of the worldwide percentage of taking them. Wasn't so much the level of execution on the shots that they took. It was just the choice of shots that they had. So what I was kind of hoping for is that percentage of bad shots to be reduced, hopefully to under 10%. You'll notice the 17s and even the 15s are doing much better with respect to that ratio. In addition to that, I do feel as though just the overall, I don't say talent, but the overall ability to execute these shots might not be that great, but we'll see how the numbers look. And I'm also of the opinion that maybe some people are taking shots they shouldn't be taking, and we have some statistics maybe to back some of that up. So we're going to go through the games from this weekend, and then we're going to go through the entirety of their season. And then we're going to do some individual statistics that'll be, I think, somewhat revealing. Again, this reason I do this is for each team, there's maybe a different diagnosis. For the 17s, it's not so much shot selection. It's even not even so much execution. They just have kind of like an offensive rebound percentage issue, which might need some tweaking. The 16s, though, could be a nice little project. We'll talk about that because I do have a couple of recommendations. And again, this is all on the coaches. It's all on you guys. And the shot selection is all on you guys too. I can tell you the math behind it, and I can tell you, I mean, for sure, what good shots are. And I was spoke with one of you guys the other day, and you didn't start giving me trouble, but you start saying, well, why you keep making fun of these bad twos? I mean, some of them are not that bad. Listen, all I'll tell you is that you can't argue with the numbers and the percentages. It's like, it's like knowing that you're supposed to stand on 16 against, against a 7 showing in blackjack, and then have somebody argue with me and say, well, sometimes you should hit, excuse me, the opposite. Like, no, you should hit on 16 with a 7 showing in blackjack. But then sometimes you can't always do that. And it's kind of hard to argue. I mean, the math is what it is. And the fact is that these shots that people can't make more than 50% of the time should not be taken, when you could take a wide open 3, which you can make 33% of the time. It's not my opinion. It's just the math. But how it translates to the kids has to come from the coaching staff. I mean, listen, I'm just presenting the evidence. I mean, you guys do what you want with it. I mean, it's all about your philosophy. Like when it comes to these floaters, for example, I mean, I know Chris likes them. I do. They happen to be terrible. not that they're terrible. They look nice and they display a great amount of skill, but percentage-wise, they're awful shots. Given what they get for you, they just are. But you know what? It depends on what you believe, and you have to translate that whatever you feel to the kids. You don't have to be like me. I mean, I'm like stone psycho. Like when I would coach the kids, I literally, when they took a shot, like just inside the 3-point arc, I was the one that rooted for it to miss. Okay. Even it was for like a game winner, because I just couldn't take it. You know what I mean? Because that's positive reinforcement of a negative action. When something, bucks the odds on that one particular situation, listen, could you want to be like that? I don't know. That's just my brain. But what they're going to do is going to come from you. And as I've mentioned to you guys before, that what I tell them is a good shot is not relevant, because the only thing that matters to them is what keeps them in the game playing time wise and what they hear from you guys. Like if they take a shot, which is a terrible shot, but it happens to go in, and you guys yell, good shot X or whatever, after it goes in, just because it happened to have gone in, you basically told him now that he can take that 15 times in a row. And in the long run, it's going to be a disaster. But listen, we're coaches and we get, we get caught up in it. But I mean, try to not, try to think of whether it's a good shot or bad shot before it actually goes in, and that's these are just this is the math. This is my observations. You do with it what you want. In any case, so 16s, we're again, first game against Team Mayo. They end up going 2-2, by the way. This is just perfect. 62% effective field goal percentage, well over 50. Turnover rate, which we want to keep below 20, is a little poor for these guys. These guys are usually not that bad with this, so I'm going to consider this kind of an outlier. Offensive rebound percentage kind of through the roof. These numbers, you're just not losing. And this is where you end up winning by 20. That's what ends up happening. But let's take a look at the shot chart, because this is what I'm I think most interested in before you go to the individuals. And for whatever reason, it always defaults to a different game before you got to redo it. So this is what I'd like to see. Okay, we will put it by like here, and we want to see shots, as few shots from here as possible. And the reality is, it's beautiful. Only 3 out of 44 shots are what I consider bad twos. All right, and that's what I want. I want less than 10%. And these guys are 20% overall. So any game that's that's like this for them is just awesome. So just kudos all around. Really, really good performance. Exactly what I want to see. Let's look at the box score, so that we can see the the individuals. See if we can find any standouts. Not really. I mean, everybody did great. I mean, Josh was a beast. 6 for 10. 2 for 2 from the line, which is really, I mean, you'd love seeing that out of your bigs, being able to make your free throws. Brandon, 2 for 7 from 3. Overall, you guys from 3 were just, kind of okay, right? What was it? 35%. Actually, that's really good for you guys. Actually, that's 5 for 14 is perfect. So within that 33% zone, excellent. Let's bottle this up. Hopefully we can reproduce this. Very, very nice game. But again, every one of their games, I got to be able to look at. All right, let's go to the next one. Next game was another win against Team New England. Put up 52 points. I really want you guys in the 60s. Eventually, hopefully by the summer, I'll get you guys into the 60s on a regular basis. I have a couple of ideas. So against Team New England, below that 50% mark, not the worst though, close to 50, I'll take it. Turnover rate below 20, which is good. Not quite elite, but pretty good. Offensive rebound percentage, 30%. Pretty much where I want it. So overall, very, very decent numbers. It's like significantly better than last week. I mean, really just like kind of across the board. Let's take a look at the shot chart here. Then we'll do the individuals from Team New England. Okay, not bad. 8 shots out of the 44 were bad twos. Not exactly what I want to see. Still approaching that 20% range. I'd like to see it less than 5. So you probably get like a C for this. And again, I don't care if they win it. In the long run, I'm telling you guys are about 30% from this range. You just can't take these. So if you know you can't take them, at least let's try to take as few of them as possible. So you took 8. I'd like to see it under 10%. So overall, probably a B+ effort as far as shot selection in this game. All right, box score. So let's take a look at some of the individuals. Nolan, very nice game. 3 for 6 from 3, 4 for 8 total. Excellent job. Josh, point guard Josh, 4 for 8, didn't take a three. Sounds good to me. Brandon, just okay. Sagi struggled a little bit, 1 for 5. Josh D, just exactly what I want from him. Actually, that's not true. I want more points out of him. But anyway, that's good. Overall, pretty decent. Pretty decent game. So we're 2-0 and playing pretty decently. This one I would give you a B because of just the shot selection, but overall not terrible. So let's now go to the 2 losses to end the tournament. One in the championship round and one in the Sweet 16 losers round, or Elite 8 losers round. So let's take a look at Mason Elite. All right, so Mason Elite, let's go to the stats first. And hold on, Mason Elite stats. Okay. So this was kind of a shit show. 37% effective field goal percentage, ain't beating anybody. Nobody. Okay. So that's immediately why you lost. But let's take a look. Turnover rate below 20, not bad, pretty good. Offensive rebound percentage, a little light. You wanted it at 30, but not the worst. Okay. So let's see if we can't figure out what the source of the bad effective field goal percentage was. Was it execution or was it shot selection? And let's take a look. Let's take a look at the shot chart first for Mason Elite, and let's first look at it by here. So the problem here was more execution, okay? Because you only took 3 shots outside of the good areas, so your ratio was good, but you were 12 for 32 from 2. That's not good. I mean, you want at least 16 of 32 from here, 50% from here. And outside 4 for 18, you know, you really wanted 6. So I don't think that the issue here was necessarily shot selection, but let's see if we can break it down a little further. Okay, so a little further down, I could nitpick and say that you took 3 of those bad floaters in this area. So maybe that impacted your shot selection a little bit. But then you missed you were 2 out of 8 from right around the rim over here. So I think your performance inside the lane was more a matter of execution and less of shot selection. So I'm not worried too much about that. And then from 3, you were just miserable, right? So in total from 3, you were, let's go back to this again. What was it? I mean, 4 for 18. I mean, that's less than 33%. You got to be higher than 33. It's only 2 more shots, 2 more makes. But so here it was really just a matter of execution. But it might also be a problem of the wrong people taking these shots. Like, do we have people that really can't finish around the rim taking these shots around the rim? Do we have people who really have no hope of making threes taking these to contribute to it? So you can, you know, dive a little deeper into the box score to figure that out. So let's take a look at the box score of this Mason Elite game and see if we can't figure this out, or just write it off as just bad variance, which is also possible. So let's take a look at who the criminals were from 2. So first of all, you have Josh, who was 5 for 13. So he was 4 for 12 from 2. You know, so that's a rough one. Okay, so Josh is, I'm not worried too much about it because I think Josh is a decent enough finisher that's probably an outlier. Brandon, okay, so Brandon was basically the 3-point shooting dilemma. I mean, he was 2 for 10, and that eats up a lot. So if he's normally a 33% three-point shooter or better, then I could probably write this off as just kind of bad variance. We'll take a look at his season average to see if he should be taking these at all. The answer is probably, but we'll see. Then you got Nolan, 0 for 3 from 3. Again, he's probably worth somebody that should be taking them anyway, so I'm not worried too much about that. Farvins was 2 for 9 from 2. So at least, I mean, he should be shooting from around there. So I think the problem in this game was really just a matter of execution. I don't think that they could have taken, I mean, their shot selection was particularly poor, but they just didn't convert. So, either get back in the gym or just practice more these finishes and these shots. But I mean, from an analytical perspective, there's not much I could add. These guys are taking, I think, the right shots. It looks like the right people are taking them. And I hate to be like this, but it just seems as though, they just didn't go in as much as they usually do, or they should. And it's kind of like go back to blackjack. I mean, if you hit on, you double down on 11 against a 6 showing. I mean, you're supposed to win money long run, but sometimes you're going to pull a 5, and then the guy's going to bust you. It just happens. But you can't worry about that, and you can't be results oriented. So here, I think that the effective field goal percentage was really just not that big of a deal, and more to the point, I think the shot selection was improved, from last week, which I like. It's actually something to look favorably upon. All right, let's go to the last game, which was against Spartans, which they lost again. They only scored 42 points. Let's take a look. And the effective field goal percentage, not bad. I mean, 46%. We wanted around 50. You have turnover rate nearly elite, pretty good. I mean, well under 20. Then you got offensive rebound percentage, really, really strong. It's just that effective field goal percentage just wasn't quite good enough, Let's take a look at how this broke down. So this looks like this doesn't look like you took a lot of shots. 43, only 43 total shots. It's played like really slow. And that's another thing. This whole team might need to play at a higher pace. And we're going to get to my recommendation in a minute here. 1.05 points per possession, but it's not a lot of possessions here. I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the shot chart. Overall, this wasn't bad. Let's see. Against Spartans, let's take a look at breakdown. Okay. I mean, pretty good. Only 4 shots were bad twos. That's pretty good, man. I mean, it's less than 10. It's about 10%. I really like it. I really like the shot selection in this game. And the effective field goal percentage was good enough. Again, from 2 though, that 7 for 18 number might concern me just a little bit. Yeah, once again, you got these 5 shots here, 1 out of 5, that are these kind of like really close to mid-range floaters. You're technically in the lane, but you're like on the wrong side of the lane. So again, I know you like him, Chris, but I just, the math of it, there's always just drag everything down. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of the problem with this game. And again, just kind of a slow pace. And there's no reason why this team should play at a slow pace. But numbers were not bad. Not bad. Just just a couple of bad shots here, a little better execution. But I think overall, I mean, here's what I want to show you from this tournament, which I think this is kind of an interesting tool. So let me look at shot chart by, well, actually, first let's look at some, let's have some fun. Let's look at the box score versus the Spartans. See anybody had a standout game here or a particularly poor one. Brandon had 20 points, took 13 threes, made 6 of them. My man, there you go. I'll do it. Everybody else is just kind of okay. Josh, kind of a poor game, actually. 0 for 3, 2 for 8 from 2. So that's pretty much the story of the individuals. But here's what I wanted to show you. Let's pull up shot chart again. What we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, paint versus twos versus threes. And as a matter of fact, let's break it. Yeah, let's do that just for now. And we could include, for example, all season. Let's do all season, this shot chart. And we looked at this last week. And we saw that of the 536 shots, a full 78 of them, okay, are inside or like bad twos. But if you look at it, I mean, this week we made a lot of improvements there. Like, for example, like before this week, when we take these games out, I remember when I yelled at you guys, when I yelled at them last week about this, like the video review, you had 60 out of 350. It was like almost 20%. But if you look at just this past week, if you look at this, just this past tournament, I would like to think some of the things we were talking about at practice, but maybe we just got lucky this week. If you look at the shot charges for this whole tournament, I mean, check this out. Like, you were right at 10%. I mean, on a tournament level, you guys did great. This is exactly what you want. The only thing came down to kind of pace and execution. So I think you're improving. But we got to continue to hammer this home to kind of really be a stickler for not only good shots, but who should be taking them, which now gets me to my point. Let's go to box score for the whole season. Where are we? Box score, view other games. We're gonna go to stats. View other games, all season. Boom. Okay, so first thing I want to do is we're gonna group by totals. We're gonna do by athlete. And again, what we're gonna try to do is we want to see who's got an effective field goal percentage over 50%, who's shooting better than 50% from two, and who's shooting better than 33% from three. Same as we do for the 17s. So we rate this by effective field goal percentage, and only 2 players on this whole team have an effective field goal percentage of over 50. Now, again, you compare that to what we talked about with the 17s. I mean, this is an enormous drop, you know, and it's not like it's not because it's 16s and 17s. Like, the 15s are much better than this. The 14s might be better than this. Well, maybe not. But to have only Philip and Osagie be over 50% effective field goal percentage, you're just not going to win that way. So let's just break this down a little further and see where the problems are. Let's look at who is above 50% in 2-point field goal percentage. Okay, Nolan, Philip again, Osagie, Brandon. See, Josh should be definitely over 50% from 2. Okay. Now, the fact that Josh Malcolm is less than 50% from 2, right? I know what this is. These are all those floaters, those mid-range shots, right? He's such a freaking talent, man. I mean, if he can get into that rim, he could probably get all the way to them. And if he fights some resistance, he's got the IQ where he should be just kicking it off, you know? And then you see Mike Main. I mean, he should not be going anywhere near the freaking rim with people protecting him. If he should be driving, if he can't get an actual layup, he should be kicking it. And then he should be spotting up for 3, right? Farvins, what is this? 16 of 32, 16 of 52 from 2. This is no good. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to get to the rim, and finish. He's pulling up too early, and not executing. That's a disaster. So 3-pointers. Who's shooting more than 33% from 3? All right, Phil, but he doesn't take that many. He doesn't play as much. You got Josh at 42%. Makes sense. Sagi doesn't take a lot. Mike Main, 37%, makes sense. Leo, 36%, makes sense. Brandon, see, now here's the problem. You have Brandon, who is taking, well, we'll get back to him. He's 31%. And then you have Nolan, who is 20% from three. Okay. And then you have Farvins, 3 for 18. Farvins is killing you out there, guys. I mean, just killing you. I mean, 30% from two and 15% from three. I mean, dude, this dude better rebound. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention only 8 for 15 from the line. So, you know, one of the issues is we have this perception that no one is such a great 3-point shooter. All I'm telling you is that he's shooting 20%. And again, it's only 40 samples, so it's not the end of the world. And you know them all from last year, I guess, too. But I wish I had the stats because this is not great. Okay. Brandon, 31%. This is just barely close to passable. I you know, and again, maybe the sample size is low, but I just assume have Josh M take threes. And what I would love is that, let's say you're playing, especially if you're playing zone against zone, I really think you have to have Michael, you know, some combination of Michael in the game. You know, you have to increase the amount of people that have a shot to make threes when they're in there, you know. And you know what? You don't think that he can, you know, regard him as a reserve or whatever. He doesn't get a lot of clutch time minutes, but maybe give this Philip more of a shot. You know, these numbers don't lie. I'm telling you, the kid's pretty freaking efficient. You know, so I don't know. What I would do for this team is sort of, so there are two things. Okay, kind of the opposite of what I would do for the 16s. I think you might need to play more of these 3 guard lineups, you know, with Josh and Brandon and Nolan on the court, you know, or Philip on the court, or Michael on the court, just to get a little better shooting out there, you know. If you just leave it to Brandon out there and Josh, and then you leave Farvins in. Listen, I'm not telling you to bench Farvins, but you got to share these stats with them, you know, because they have to know where the production's coming from so they can make good decisions on the court. But what I would really suggest for this team, and I guess we'll talk about it at practice, is I would ramp everything up. This team, I would be pressing literally every possession. I mean, I would be running diamond into man. I would be running double fist into man. I could show you all this whole pressing system just to speed up the game. Okay. Because the more they get into these kind of slow down half court sets and these slow down half court matchups with these teams that are just more efficient, they're just going to get eaten up by these teams that are just better shooters. They're just going to get eaten up. And that's what happens. So it happens to these kids. If they can create some havoc, I'm telling you, I mean, like my older team, like the first 2 years they played for me, like 8th and 9th grade, they were diamond into man and fist into double fist for 2 full seasons. And they just caused so much freaking havoc for teams, you know, and we had a full team of 10 and we wore teams down, and you know, they were very athletic, like this group, and they only had like 1 or 2 shooters. And we just pushed the pace, and you know, we thrived on it. And this would, whenever these games kind of slow down, this team is going to struggle unless a lot of things change. So you could either change the way they execute, you could try to get the much easier shots out of the offense, or just ratchet it up so that they're playing more high pace, where they could get out in the open court, where they can get a lot of steals and convert. That would be That would 100% be what I would do, but I'm not the coach. So statistically, that is my summary for this group. Definitely improved with respect to shot selection, but they're just, like you said, they're just not a great shooting team. And you can either teach them how to shoot in the next 2 weeks, or you can at least share statistics with them so they know who the best shooters are. Number three, you could, you could make some personnel changes where you have better, put Michael or Philip or somebody like that in there with them to get more, better shots off, better chance of making them. You could tell them not to take the floaters. I know you're not going to do that, but that's something I would do. And, or you could do what I suggest, and that is just basically either I would go diamond into man, I would go full court man, no trap, then full court man with trap. I would make the other team just die of exhaustion. And yeah, that would be it. Well, I guess I'll do the 15s next.